What's up guys, welcome back to another haircut tutorial. Today we have Scott in chair. So Scott usually gets a weekly haircut. We usually do a skin fade on the side and a number 3.5 to 3 on top. So you can see that his hair is really short, but I'm gonna go in with my 3 all the way open and just make sure to go even out the top just to make sure that the hairs that has been grown for that week has been cut. You can see that I'm taking my time with this process, but I just sped it up so it will go by quickly for you guys. But making sure that we're following the crown on how the direction of the hair is growing. And you can see that there's a few cowlicks in front near his recession area and near his hairline area. So we gotta be cautious and aware on which direction we're flipping our clipper around just to make sure that we're actually cutting the hair. After debulking the top with our 3 all the way open, which is our 3.5 guard, now I'm going to go in with my trimmer guideline and set my foundation for my low guide to start this fade off. At the back we're going to drop it just a tad bit just because we don't want to take it too high, and we want to make sure that the shape of the back is still a bit darker just so when we look at from a side profile it still looks a bit full. We're going to take this guideline not too high, maybe just below right behind that TPP where the C cup just starts, just so we can keep that C cup at the end. If we don't like it, we can always take that C cup out by going a bit higher. After completing the other side, now I'm going to do the exact same thing on this side, making sure that I'm going below that TPP area, just right above where the arches curve, making sure that we're matching it all the way to our back guideline that we created from the other side. Now we can do the shaver guideline right underneath our trimmer guideline. Usually when I use my shaver around the neck area, I usually like to use both foils. When I get around the ears and maybe the sideburns, I usually flip it to the single foil just because it's a bit more of a smaller surface area. The neck usually has a bigger surface area, so that's why I'm using double foil rather than single foil. When we push this line up, we want to make sure to swipe down afterward just to take that line out. If there's no line presented, you actually did this correctly. But if there's still a line presented, you can always swipe down like I said earlier. Now to start my first guideline, I'm going to bring in my clipper, blade all the way open, and create a guideline 1 inch all the way up, making sure that we have enough space to take this guideline out. Right now the mechanics I'm using more of my front of my teeth, which you can see, and not my heel of my blade, just because I want to make sure to imprint this guideline into his head just to make sure that I know how far I'm taking this guideline up. To take this guideline out, we're going to close the blade all the way, open it a quarter way, halfway, and 3/4 way until the line disappears. If a line is still presented, we'll go back in with our trimmer and use some corners and just detail that line out a bit more. Now I'm going to use my one guard all the way open to create my next guideline. Same step as our blade open guideline, we're going to push this guideline an inch up, making sure that we have adequate room for us to fade this line out. To take this line out afterwards, we're going to close our one guard all the way and go just right beneath our one guard all the way open. If a guideline is still presented after we used our one guard all the way closed, we will use our half guard halfway open and all the way closed to get that line out as well. Now I'm going to go in with my two guard all the way open and flick this line out a bit more. Right now I'm using more of my heel of my blade just because I don't want to dig into the head, because I want to create more of a softer square shape rather than a complete round shape here. Afterwards I'll close my two guard all the way and go underneath my two guard all the way open. After completing that step, now I'm going to use my 1.5 guard all the way close and just detail that line out. If we go any higher, we'll open that lever a bit more halfway and fully open just to erase that line out. Now I'm going to use my one guard all the way open again and just detail this area out just to erase that darkness around here. Then I'm going to close it maybe a halfway, maybe a quarter way, and just keep flicking around these areas just to lighten this area up. Now I'm going to use my 3 guard all the way open just to even around that parallel ridge area so the silhouette is still nice and squared and flush. And now I'm going to do some finishing touches with my blending shears just to blend this area a bit more in, just so everything sits a bit more smoother and the fade will be a bit more blended in. Now I'm going to repeat the same exact steps that I did on the other side, on this side. Go in with our blade all the way open, create an inch guideline, making sure that we have enough space to fade this line out. To fade this line out, we're going to close our blade all the way, open it a quarter way, halfway, and 3/4 way to take that line out. And if the line's still presented, we'll go back in with our trimmer and just use our corners just to detail that line out even more. Now I'm going to go in with my number 1 guard all the way open and create my next guideline, making sure that we have enough space to take this line out afterwards. To take this line out afterwards, we're going to use our 1 guard as well, but close it all the way, making sure that we're going just beneath that 1 guard all the way open. And if the line is still presented, we'll go back in with our half guard halfway open and all the way closed just to take that line out even more. Now I'm going to use my 2 guard all the way open and just go right up into that 3 guard all the way open as well, just to blend into that silhouette. Afterwards, I'll likely go back in with my 3 guard all the way closed just to smooth that silhouette out, just so I know that the shape will be there perfectly. Right now, I just closed my 2 guard all the way, making sure that I'm going underneath that 2 guard all the way open. Now I'm introducing that 1.5 guard all the way close, just to go underneath that 2 guard all the way close. Making sure that we're using the full blade right here because we're not detailing yet. Eventually we'll start using a bit more corners when we detail, but right now we're still erasing the lines. Now we're gonna start detailing process after we complete our steps. Now we're gonna go back in with our 1 guard all the way open and use the lever, playing around with the lever 3/4 way, halfway, just to blend this line out. We always want to step back a bit and just see this haircut as a whole, just because when we look too closely at one certain area, we're gonna get tunnel vision, and that's not gonna be good. Now I want to go back in with our half guard and start playing around with the lever as well, and just evening out certain areas around the head that's a bit darker that I do not like, and just matching it to certain areas that are a bit lighter as well. With this process of detailing, it's all about using your eyes and making sure that we understand that our fade has to be fluid throughout the head, right? Certain areas can be darker than other areas where they're lighter, so we have to even out those darkest areas to make them lighter. Now we're gonna do the exact same step at the back of the head, but with this back of the head, it's gonna be a bit more trickier because, like we talked about earlier in our theory section, that usually the back of the head is usually more dense with the hair follicles, just because that's where naturally all the hairs are just denser, right? Because it's a bigger surface area. So with this area, we'll be actually detailing a bit more, and our guard system will actually help us set up a good foundation, but it will not help us detail these lines out, all right? Making sure that we're using our eyes afterwards to detail this line and make this fade really, really nice. So we started off with my blade all the way open, faded that line out. Now we're using our 1 guard all the way open, create our guideline. Now we're gonna fade it out with our 1 guard all the way closed. Then we'll use our half guard halfway open and all the way closed just to detail this line out. But we can see that this back area is way darker compared to the side area around that section or that panel that we're working on. So what we have to do, we have to go a bit shorter in this area to match up the colors from the side panel. Now I'm using my 2 guard all the way open and going up, making sure that we are not going into the head, because from earlier in the video we can see that the side profile, this area of the head is really flat and rounded, so we want to go right off the head using our heel to make sure that we're creating that nice silhouette at the back. Afterward, we'll close that 2 guard all the way and go underneath our 2 guard all the way open just to blend that line out. And now we're back with our 1.5 guard all the way closed, making sure that we're flicking around these areas and using a lot of corners just to detail this line out. So right now I'm using my scissors just to point cut into certain areas around the head that are a bit darker, just so they line up a bit more. This is what I call like just picking out certain spot, or like spot picking, making sure that we're just going in darker areas and lining up so they match different areas around the head. Now I'm going to use a shorter guard around his recession area, just because these areas are really thick for him and there's a lot of calyx in these areas. So the way I buzzed it off was against the grain, in your opinion, but my eyes, they weren't, because the hair naturally wants to grow up in this area, so I had to go back down just to go against the grain. Now I'm just lining him up, making sure that I'm going as natural as possible. And when we do the bars on the side, we always want to go 45 degree, just so when we look in front, face to face, it will look straight. Now I'm going to repeat the same process on this side, making sure that we're still going as natural as possible and making sure that we're not pushing this line all the way back. And there you have it, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed that tutorial. I know it's a very simple haircut, but very simple haircut does take a lot of effort as well, and not just any other haircut, right? We still gotta keep the silhouette really nice and square, but still soft at the same time, making sure that we have to detail those darker areas out, right? I hope you guys found this tutorial insightful, and I'll see you guys in the next one.